Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, March 24th, and a lot of interesting action last night, and the standings in a couple places are looking very interesting. All right. So originally, this game was up here, but of course, there was the power outage in the Carolina area due to the storms. So they had to push the game back. And despite that, nice little crowd on hand there. All right, so let's get started with our chronological order here. Elmira trying to hold off the Watertown Wolves for the final playoff spot in the Empire Division. And the second straight night, Port Huron, the hosts, come away with a shootout win. This time it was 3-2. Same goalies as the night before, Sammy Bernard and Ian Wallace, and no scoring in the first. In the second, it is the Prowlers that get things started off. Prowlers, statistically, their best period this year is the second period. Ross Bartlett scores at 6:50, and so that puts Port Huron up. Elmira answers at 14:06, a power play goal by Cam Yarwood. Excuse me. And then at 15:48, Evan Foley, not Connor Foley, but Evan Foley, he scores. And we end up with a 2-1 lead by Port Huron. But in the third, Elmira ties things up. Shorthanded goal by Brett Parker. That's his specialty, his speed and whatnot generate a lot of good chances on the kill. And so Parker ties things up. So we end up through the regulation time tied up, and the shots are at this point 39-30 in favor of the Prowlers. We get to overtime, and that was crazy. There was a botched penalty shot. There was weird penalties. There was all sorts of odd situations in overtime. No resolution, so we go to the shootout. And for the second straight night, Connor Foley puts the team up in the shootout. But in the third round, Blake Peavy scores, and so that tied things up. So it was all on the stick of Dalton J. And the league's third leading goal scorer all time delivers and puts home the winner. And it's a 3-2 victory for Port Huron. 43 shots in the end to Elmira's 33. So, Elmira is now 18-30-2, but they still got one more point. So at that point of the night, they now had a 6-point cushion on Watertown. Port Huron 24-19-6, solidifying their hold on the third playoff spot in the Continental Division. And 1460 on hand in McMorran Place yesterday. So then we go to Wytheville, Virginia, and the second straight night, Danbury is playing there. And unlike the really close game that Friday night was, this time Danbury made sure there was no doubt about things. There was a lengthy delay at the end, towards the end of the first period, where one of the panels of glass was coming loose, and so the officials kind of staggered how intermissions went. So the first period was only 16 minutes long, and then the second was 24, basically. But once the repairs were made, Dan Martin, he gets the first goal of the night for the Bobcats, but then Danbury counters with 5 straight unanswered goals. It is Juwan Davis scoring for Danbury at 5:11 of the second, and then Jacob Ratcliffe, he scores at 9:42. William Berry, he gets on the board again at 1824. So at the end of two, it was 3-1 Danbury, and then in the third, Danbury adds a couple more goals, both by Corey Cunningham. And so finally, towards the end of the night, Nikita Avashin scores for the Bobcats to get them a little closer, but it's not close enough. So yeah, and miracle of miracles, all goals were actually equal strength goals this time. No power play goals, nothing messed up on the stats. But anyway, yeah, 5-2 win for the Hat Tricks, and boy, are they on a heater. They've won their last five now. They are up to 29, 17, and 5. And for quite a while, it looked like, yeah, they were going to be the third place team in the Empire. Not so fast. It's going to be a very interesting race between them and the Rockers in the standings the rest of the way out. Blue Ridge falling to 13, 30, and 7. Owen Liskovitz got the start once again. Connor McCollum, he started this game for the Hat Tricks and saved 27 to 29. Liskovitz, 28 saves on the evening. All right, Jacob Ratcliffe, he had a good game, a goal and an assist for the Hat Tricks. So, yeah, the Rabbits are making a move. Meanwhile, the Motor City Rockers, again, they're taking on Columbus. And there's been a question. Is Columbus that good, or did they just pad their stats off of a weak schedule? Well, they've proved over the past couple of weeks in games against Carolina and against Motor City that, yeah, they're good. So, yeah, Columbus comes away with an 8-5 win. The goals were coming fast and furious. In the first, it's Austin Doe, it's Alexander Jemayev, it's J-Mac scoring once again. 7 minutes in, it's 3-0, but Motor City starts to creep their way back into the game. Scotty Koash scores and Nicholas Miguel Diaz. So that's 3-2 at that point. But then towards the end of the first, it's more Columbus. It's Justin McDonald once again. So 4-2 at the end of one, and the second, it's Storjahan and Pietrantonio. They scored. So at this point, it looks like, yeah, Columbus has got this in hand. Not so fast. Nick Gullo decides in the course of 11 seconds, I'm not going to get one goal, I'm going to get two. So, yeah, Nick Gullo gets Motor City back into it. I kind of skipped ahead of my notes. I realized, actually, after the Pietrantonio goal, okay, Lane King scored, countered by Kirk Underwood, and then Golo scores. So it's 7-5 as we are midway through the third period now. So finally, at 14:38, Columbus takes the doubt away. A goal originally credited to Bersani ends up getting changed to Pietrantonio. So Josh with 2 goals on the night. So yeah, there we go. 8-5. Now in this game, it was Ricardo Gonzalez in goal for the Rockers, and 8 goals surrendered on the night. Kind of a tough night for him. Meanwhile, for the River Dragons, we got to look at Hunter Virostek. First look at him, and he ends up getting a win in his debut. Sure, he would have rather not have given up 5 goals, but a win is a win. That's at the end of the day, that's what matters. So, so Columbus 8-5, Motor City falling to 29, 18, and 4, and now only 2 points up on Danbury. Meanwhile, Columbus, again, yes, they're that good. 39, 4, and 3, and their magic number to clinch the Continental Division is now down to 8. So Gullo with 2 goals and an assist. TJ Sneath had 2 assists. Nice night for him. Pete Trentonio with 2 goals and 2 assists, and Justin McDonald, who of course is leading all scorers, 2 goals and an assist. Then we go up to the game that actually ended the last of all the games, but uh, Binghamton Black Bears travel up to Watertown. Of course, these two teams played in Binghamton the night before. Tonight, it's in Watertown, and as I predicted, Watertown comes away with a victory. Yeah, they played hungry. So first, it is Declan Flanagan with his first professional goal for the Wolves. He gets them on the board, 9:32 for his second straight night. The Wolves are the first team to score. That's countered by Blake Tosto with his first goal professionally. So that was on the power play. And we ended up, shots were 13-11 in favor of Binghamton in the first, but Watertown really, through the physical play, was dictating the course of the game. In the second, it is William Gabo scoring. It's Alexander Gamzatov scoring. So it is 3-1 in favor of Watertown at the end of 2. In the third, Blake Tosto scores again, a very similar goal to his first. He scores again on the power play, and that makes it 3-2. But with the goaltender Connor McAnanama pulled, Trevor Graspy scores into the empty net, seals the deal for the Watertown Wolves, and they pull it off 4-2. Very big win for the Wolves. They gained 3 points. Elmira had only gained 1 via the shootout loss to Port Huron. So right now, Watertown is just a mere 3 points behind Elmira. Those two teams play each other 3 times in the closeout of the year. So it's going to come right down to the very last day, I think, with the standings. For this game, Blake Tasso with the 2 goals. McAnanama saved 23 out of 26. For the Wolves, another fantastic performance by Spencer Kozlowski, and this time he gets the benefit of being on the winning side. Stops 43 of 45. Flanagan with his first professional goal, and of course Gamzatov with the game winner. This all coming in front of a good crowd up in Watertown, 12:50 on a Sunday night, or a Saturday night. Binghamton is now 33-7-7. Watertown improving to 16-27-5. And finally, Baton Rouge. They came out with a lot of energy, trying to sneak one a win away from the Thunderbirds, but it wasn't happening. Carolina continues the dominance, and it ends up being 4-2. The Zydeco scored first, Scott Chirac, and then, wow, there's all these memes out there. Jacob Schnott never drops the gloves. He did last night, and took on Jordan Ritchie, and that was quite a tussle, too. It was, yeah. So, yeah, Schnott does drop the gloves, just not that often. All right, so it's 1-0 at the end of 1 in favor of the Zydeco. In the second, Dawson Baker, he scores Carolina's first goal again on the power play, just 25 seconds in the second. Roman Kramer scores at 11:34. Gus Ford scores at 13:22. And so through 2, it's now 3-1, and Carolina is out shooting Baton Rouge 37-15. Whew. In the third, Jacob Schnapp adds an exclamation point. Yeah, he can drop the gloves and he can score too. Closing out the scoring was Jake Cox. But yeah, the damage had been done. Carolina ends up with a very convincing and solid 4-2 win, and 57 shots on goal. John Moriarty in goal for the Zydeco played very, very well, made a lot of huge saves 53. Meanwhile, Yeah, it's the Peoria connection. It's Gus Ford with a goal and assist, Baker with a goal and assist, and Cavallari stopping 29 shots. And Carolina, yep, they improved to 36-11-2. Baton Rouge now 10-33-4. Carolina's won 7 in a row. Look out. It's going to be interesting in the playoffs. All right, so there's our games. I made a note here with the losses by Blue Ridge and Baton Rouge. Mississippi's magic number to clinch is just 3 points. All right, guys, that's it for today. We'll catch you later on today with Stars and Standings.